Alright, listen up. We're talking about a place that makes other deserts look like a walk in the park. This is the Lut Desert in Iran, also known by its Persian name, Dasht-e-Lut. It's not just a vast expanse of sand and rock, it's a furnace. NASA satellites have recorded surface temperatures here that are literally off the charts. We're talking about a staggering 70.7 degrees Celsius, or 159.3 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to cook an egg on the ground, no joke. This isn't your average holiday spot. It's one of the most extreme, unforgiving environments on our planet, a true test of human endurance. This is nature at its most raw and powerful. Why is it so hot? Well, it's a combination of factors. The dark, rocky terrain absorbs a massive amount of solar radiation, more than lighter sand would. It's also situated in what's known as a rain shadow, meaning mountains block the rain-producing weather systems, leaving it bone dry for most of the year. This extreme aridity means there's no moisture in the air or on the ground to cool things down. It's a perfect storm of geographical and geological conditions that have created the hottest place on Earth. Surviving here for even 24 hours requires knowledge, preparation, and a will of steel. People often think of deserts as just endless dunes of sand, but the Lut is different. It's a place of geological wonders, sculpted by relentless wind and heat over millennia. But don't let its stark beauty fool you for a second. Every single element here is fighting against you. The air itself feels like it's being blasted from an industrial oven, searing your lungs with every breath. Your body is constantly losing water, not just through sweat, but through the simple act of breathing. This is a battle you start losing the moment you step foot in this incredible yet lethal environment. The challenge is immense. 24 hours might not sound like a long time, but out here, every minute is a struggle. Every decision you make, from where you seek shelter to how much water you drink, could be the difference between life and death. This is the ultimate test. It's you against the raw, untamed power of Mother Nature in her most extreme form. It's about more than just survival. It's about understanding your own limits and finding the strength to push past them when everything inside you is screaming to give up. Let's get into it. Stepping into the Lut Desert feels like landing on another planet. The ground beneath your feet isn't soft sand. It's a hard, cracked salt pan that crunches with every step. In other areas, you find yourself surrounded by massive rock formations called caloutes. These are colossal yardangs, ridges carved by the wind over thousands of years, standing like silent, ancient cities in the middle of nowhere. They stretch for miles, creating a labyrinth of shadows and sun-baked rock. The colors are surreal, deep browns, burnt oranges, and blacks that seem to absorb the very light from the sky. It's a landscape that is both breathtakingly beautiful and deeply intimidating. The silence here is profound, almost a physical presence. It's a silence so complete that you can hear the blood rushing in your ears. There are no birds chirping, no insects buzzing, just the occasional whisper of the wind as it snakes its way through the caloutes. This lack of sound can be incredibly unnerving. It makes you feel utterly alone, a tiny, insignificant speck in a vast, empty world. Your own footsteps, your own breathing, become the only soundtrack to your survival. It forces you to look inward, to confront your own thoughts in a way that few other places on Earth can. The feel of the place is all about the heat. It's a physical force that presses down on you from all sides. The air is so dry it feels like it's pulling the moisture right out of your skin, your eyes, and your throat. When the wind blows, it offers no relief. It's not a cooling breeze, it's a superheated blast, like opening an oven door. Touching any surface that has been exposed to the sun is out of the question. The rocks are hot enough to cause serious burns. Even the air you breathe feels thick and heavy. Each inhalation a reminder of the relentless inferno you've walked into. This environment is stripped bare of all life's comforts. There is no shade, save for what you can find behind a rock or in a narrow canyon. There are no obvious signs of water, no green to soothe the eyes. It is a world of extremes, a place that has been sculpted by the harshest forces of nature. To survive here, you have to become part of this landscape. You have to understand its rhythms, respect its power, and adapt to its brutal rules. It's a humbling experience that strips away everything but the essential will to live. Preparation is everything. Walking into the Lut Desert unprepared is not just foolish. It's a death sentence. Your survival kit is your lifeline, and every single item has a purpose. First and foremost is water. You need an absolute minimum of 10 liters per person for a 24-hour period, and honestly, more is better. You can't just carry it in any old bottle. You need insulated containers to keep it from becoming undrinkably hot. Dehydration is your #1 enemy out here, and it can creep up on you with terrifying speed. Without sufficient water, your body will shut down, plain and simple. Next is clothing. You might think shorts and a t-shirt are the way to go in extreme heat, but you'd be wrong. You need to cover every inch of your skin to protect it from the brutal sun. Loose-fitting, lightweight, long-sleeve shirts and trousers are essential. The material should be breathable, and the color should be light to reflect the sun's rays. A wide-brimmed hat is non-negotiable to shield your head and neck. Sunglasses are crucial to protect your eyes from the blinding glare, and a shamog or scarf can be used to cover your face, helping to humidify the air you breathe and protect you from dust. Your pack needs to contain more than just water and clothes. A good quality map and a compass are vital, as is a GPS unit or a satellite phone for emergencies. Landmarks can be deceiving in the desert, and getting lost is a real danger. You also need a comprehensive first aid kit, with supplies for treating burns, cuts, and dehydration. High-energy food is a must. Things like nuts, dried fruit, and protein bars that provide a lot of calories without taking up much space. You won't feel hungry in the intense heat, but you must force yourself to eat to keep your energy levels up. Finally, you need a plan for shelter. The sun is a killer, and you cannot afford to be exposed to it during the hottest part of the day. A simple, lightweight emergency blanket or a tarp can be a lifesaver. You can string it up between rocks or use it to create a lean-to against a caloot. This will create a patch of shade, a small refuge where you can rest and conserve your energy until the sun begins to lose its power. Every piece of gear is a piece of the puzzle. Forgetting just one thing could have disastrous consequences. Your survival begins long before you set foot in the desert. The 24-hour clock starts at sunrise, around 5:30 in the morning. The desert at this hour is deceptively beautiful. A cool, almost chilly air hangs over the landscape, a temporary reprieve from the inferno to come. The sun rises with incredible speed, painting the sky in shades of orange, pink, and purple. The long shadows cast by the caloots create a stunning, high-contrast world. This is the golden hour, a moment of peace and breathtaking beauty. But don't be fooled. This is the calm before the storm. This is your window of opportunity to get things done before the heat becomes unbearable. My first priority is to find a suitable location for a base camp, a place where I can shelter during the midday peak. I need to move quickly and efficiently while the temperatures are still manageable. I'm looking for a spot that offers natural shade, perhaps a deep overhang on the eastern side of a large caloot, which will be protected from the morning sun. Walking in the early hours is crucial. The ground is still relatively cool, and the air is easier to breathe. I take regular small sips of water, even though I don't feel thirsty yet. This is about proactive hydration, staying ahead of the game. By 8 in the morning, the change is dramatic. The temperature is already climbing past 35 degrees Celsius, and the sun is beginning to feel intense. The cool morning air has completely vanished, replaced by a growing, oppressive heat. The landscape loses its soft morning colors and takes on a harsh, washed-out glare. This is when you must start to seriously manage your exertion. Every movement costs you precious water and energy. I've found my spot, a small alcove in the rock, and I begin to set up my simple tarp shelter to maximize the shade. The hours between 9 and 11 in the morning are a steady ramp-up to the day's peak. The heat builds relentlessly, and the rocks around me are already becoming hot to the touch. The silence of the morning is now filled with a low, humming heat haze. My focus shifts entirely to conservation. I check my water supply, rationing it carefully. I eat a small amount of dried fruit and nuts to keep my energy levels stable. The psychological game begins now. You have to stay calm, control your breathing, and accept that for the next several hours, your world will shrink to the small patch of shade you have created. From noon until about 3 p.m., the Loot Desert transforms into a living hell. This is the peak of the Inferno, the time when the sun is directly overhead and its power is at its most ferocious. The temperature soars to well over 50 degrees Celsius in the shade, and the surface temperature of the dark ground is, honestly, unimaginable. All movement must cease. To be caught out in the open now would be catastrophic. Your only job is to stay in your shelter, stay as still as possible, and wait. This is a battle of patience and mental fortitude. The heat is a physical assault, It's a suffocating blanket that makes it hard to think clearly. Your body is working overtime just to cool itself down, pouring out sweat that evaporates almost instantly in the bone-dry air. This is why dehydration is so insidious here. You might not even feel wet. I take tiny sips of my water every 15 minutes. It's warm, but it's liquid, and it's life. I douse my scarf with a small amount of precious water and wrap it around my neck. The evaporative cooling effect provides a small but significant moment of relief. During these hours, your mind can play tricks on you. The shimmering heat haze can create mirages, illusions of water that can tempt you out of your shelter. You have to know they aren't real. You have to trust your knowledge and your preparation, not your desperate senses. I focus on my breathing, keeping it slow and steady. I run through survival checklists in my head, thinking about my next steps once the sun begins to relent. It's about keeping your mind occupied and disciplined, fighting off the lethargy and the temptation to just give in to the overwhelming conditions. Wild animals, what little life there is, are also in hiding. Scorpions, snakes, and desert foxes are nocturnal for a reason. They are deep in their burrows, waiting out the brutal heat just as I am. So the threat from wildlife is minimal during the day. The real predator is the sun. It's a relentless, silent stalker, and its weapon is the heat. These 3 hours feel like an eternity. Every minute is a victory. Surviving the midday peak is the single most important challenge of these 24 hours. As 3 p.m. rolls around, you might expect some relief, but the desert is cruel. The sun is no longer directly overhead, but the ground and the rocks have been soaking up heat all day, and now they are radiating it back out with a vengeance. The air temperature might drop a single degree or two, but honestly, it's barely noticeable. In many ways, the late afternoon is just as dangerous as midday. Your body is already fatigued, your water supplies are lower, and your mental resolve has been tested for hours. Complacency now could be fatal. This is a period of continued vigilance. I remain in my shelter, knowing that the sun is still incredibly powerful. The shadows are starting to lengthen, but they offer little comfort yet. I force myself to eat another small handful of nuts. My appetite is non-existent, but I know my body needs the fuel. The feeling of thirst is now a constant companion, a dry, scratchy sensation in the back of my throat. I continue my strict water rationing, aware that I still have many hours to go, including the night and the next morning, before this ordeal is over. By 4 p.m., there is a subtle but definite shift. The intensity of the light begins to soften and the shadows of the Kalutes stretch further across the desert floor. This is a psychological boost, a sign that the worst of the day's heat is finally beginning to break. I can start to think about moving again soon. I use this time to plan my next move, finding a better spot for the night, one that might offer some protection from the wind. I check my map and my surroundings, getting my bearings before I venture out of my sanctuary. Around 5 p.m., the temperature finally begins to drop more noticeably. It's still incredibly hot by any normal standard, but the edge has been taken off the furnace. It's safe enough to start moving again, slowly and deliberately. I pack up my tarp and begin a short trek, staying in the growing shadows as much as possible. My body feels heavy and tired, but my spirits are lifted by the changing conditions. The late afternoon sun paints the landscape in warm golden hues, a stark contrast to the harsh white glare of midday. The desert is becoming beautiful again. The period just before sunset, often called the golden hour, is magical in the Lut Desert. From about 6 p.m. until the sun disappears below the horizon, the world is transformed. The oppressive heat of the day finally gives way to a more tolerable warmth. The sky erupts in a spectacular display of color: fiery oranges, deep reds, and soft violets. The Kalutes, which seemed so menacing under the midday sun, now glow with a warm, inviting light. Their long shadows create a dramatic, almost sculptural landscape that is honestly breathtaking to behold. This is a time of renewed energy and purpose. The drop in temperature is a huge relief, both physically and mentally. I can move more freely now without the constant crushing pressure of the sun. I use this precious time to find a suitable place to spend the night. I'm looking for a spot that is sheltered from the wind, which can pick up significantly after sunset. A small depression or the leeward side of a rock formation is ideal. It's also a good time to take stock of my supplies and my physical condition. I assess how much water I have left and plan my consumption for the night and the following morning. As the sun touches the horizon, the temperature begins to plummet with surprising speed. The desert, which was a furnace just hours ago, begins to lose its heat back into the clear night sky. This rapid temperature drop is a characteristic of dry, arid environments. I take this opportunity to have a more substantial meal, forcing myself to eat a protein bar and some dried fruit to replenish the energy I've lost. Eating helps the body to generate heat, which will be important as the night gets colder. The final moments of sunset are a time for reflection. Watching the last sliver of sun disappear is a powerful experience. It marks the end of the day's primary struggle, the fight against the heat. A sense of accomplishment washes over me. I have survived the hottest part of the day in the hottest place on Earth. But I know the challenge isn't over. The desert has a new set of tests for the night, the cold, the darkness, and the nocturnal creatures that are now beginning to stir. Once the sun is gone, the desert reveals another of its secrets, the night sky. With no city lights for hundreds of miles and no moisture in the air to obscure the view, the stars are unlike anything you've ever seen. It's not just a scattering of bright points, it's a thick, shimmering blanket of light. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a celestial river, so bright and clear that it feels like you could almost reach out and touch it. It's an awe-inspiring sight that makes you feel both incredibly small and deeply connected to the universe. The temperature continues to fall rapidly. From the searing heat of the day, it can drop to a surprisingly chilly 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. After being baked all day, this cold can feel shocking to the system. This is why layering your clothing is so important. I put on a fleece jacket that I've been carrying in my pack. Huddling in my chosen shelter, I try to conserve body heat. The wind can be a major factor now, stealing warmth from you and making the night feel even colder. The desert is a land of extremes, and the night is no exception. Night is also when the desert comes alive. While I was hiding from the sun, the nocturnal animals were sleeping. Now they are out and about. You have to be aware of your surroundings. Scorpions and desert vipers are a real threat. I make sure my sleeping area is clear of debris, and I check my boots and clothes carefully before putting them on. You don't want any unwanted visitors. You can often hear the faint sounds of life in the darkness, the skittering of a small rodent or the distant call of a desert fox. It's a reminder that even in this harsh place, life finds a way. Sleep is difficult. The combination of the cold, the hard ground, and the constant state of alertness makes for a restless night. I doze in short intervals, always aware of the sounds around me. The night is long, a different kind of endurance test from the day. It's a test of patience and vigilance. I sip water occasionally to stay hydrated, even though I don't feel thirsty in the cold. As the hours tick by, I watch the stars wheel across the sky, waiting for the first hint of dawn, which will signal the end of this 24-hour cycle of survival. The first light of dawn is a welcome sight. It creeps over the eastern horizon, slowly chasing away the deep black of the night and replacing it with shades of gray, and then a soft, pale blue. The stars begin to fade as the sky brightens, and a new day is born. The air is crisp and cold, a final reminder of the night's chill. Watching the sunrise in the Lut Desert after surviving a full day and night is a profound experience. It's a moment of victory, a symbol of a new beginning. I've made it. I have survived 24 hours in the hottest place on Earth. With the return of the light, I prepare for my final push. I eat the last of my food and drink a good portion of my remaining water. The morning sun warms my body, chasing away the last of the night's cold. The landscape is once again painted in the beautiful, soft colors of the golden hour. It feels like a reward for enduring the hardships of the past day. There's a deep sense of accomplishment, but it's not about conquering the desert. You don't conquer a place like this. You can only hope to endure it, to pass through it with respect. This experience teaches you some fundamental lessons. It teaches you the true value of water, something most of us take for granted every day. It teaches you about the incredible resilience of the human body and mind, the ability to push through discomfort and fear. Most importantly, it teaches you humility. In the face of such raw, immense natural power, you realize your own vulnerability. It strips away your ego and leaves you with a deep and abiding respect for the planet we live on, in all its beauty and brutality. My final thought as I take my first steps out of the desert is one of gratitude. I am grateful for the knowledge that allowed me to prepare, for the strength that saw me through, and for the incredible opportunity to witness such an extreme and magnificent corner of our world. The Lut Desert is a formidable opponent, a place that tests you to your very core. But surviving it doesn't just leave you with a story to tell. It leaves you with a new understanding of yourself, and a profound respect for the wild places that still exist on this earth. And that is a takeaway that will last a lifetime.